Uncle Jay, and welcome to Brain Food, where I tell you what's yummy and nutritious for your head. On today's episode, I'm going to be talking about a short novella called The Water That Falls on You from Nowhere by John Chu. In this story, a strange phenomenon has enveloped the world, whereby anyone that tells a lie, no matter how big or small, they are drenched by their own personal rainfall. The bigger the lie, the more water there is, and the colder it becomes, as well as an intense pain and pressure to give truth to the lie that you just told. This has led, of course, to the even stranger phenomenon of people such as frats and jocks, as Matt, the main character, tells us, attempting to see how long they can withstand the pain, the cold, and the pressure before finally giving in. Uttering this sentence is false, or some other paradox leaves you with such a sense of angst, so filled with the sense of an impending doom that most people don't last 5 seconds before blurting something unequivocal. So of course, holding out for as long as possible has become the latest craze among drunk frat boys and hard men who insist on root canals without an anesthetic. Psychologists are finding the longer you wait, the more unequivocal you need to be to ever find solace. It's an interesting piece of world building, and something that I wish the author had delved into more. After all, we're now in the midst of another long U.S. election season. And something like this would have made the TV debates far more interesting. More interesting than some little bird, that's for sure. However, I can understand why John Chu kept the story short and centered in on Matt and his lover Gus, as it's a story about coming out and the expectations placed upon people according to the gender that they identify with and the culture that they're raised in. After all, Matt, a biotech engineer, has to face up to the fact that he has to tell his parents that no, he would not be sticking his penis into the vagina of a nice Chinese woman and producing a son to carry on the family name, as his older sister, Michelle, demands of him. Feeling pressure at this eventuality, he invites Gus along with him to see his family at Christmas time and to come out. But it's not made any easier by his sister, Michelle, who just seems to hate his guts. As a novella, it's a short read, barely even an hour's worth of time, but packed full with meaning and worth multiple rereads. In fact, as Matt is translating for Gus between the various family members, there are a few phrases in Chinese and Mandarin within the story. I only ever studied Japanese kanji, and even then my knowledge is still rather limited. But the context of the story is such that you don't ever feel lost when you read them or see them. I can also imagine that those who do know Chinese and Mandarin will feel a deeper connection with this story when they read those phrases. The chemistry between Matt and Gus is a delight to read. And you can see just why Matt is so smitten with him and how much of a rock Gus is for Matt. Gus is kind, considerate, caring, he's a personal trainer, he studies dead languages, and it probably doesn't hurt that he's also built like a Greek statue. When Matt finally invites Gus to the Christmas family gathering, Gus himself actually expresses some concern. Stop. He's on his side, his arm around me. He's not as happy as I want him to be. Are you sure? I can wait years if that's what you want. The navigating of culture here is done really well, with Matt and Michelle butting heads over what Matt is supposed to do. And I think that her anger stems from that. After all, as the only son in this family, Matt is more important than her in the traditional sense. And so her pressuring him to do what she thinks he has to do is a way of keeping the parents happy, regardless of Matt's feelings. Of course, later on in the story, Matt tells Gus all the different things that Michelle did to him over the years. And so it really skews my view of her as more a bully than a loving sibling. Fine, I sit up and stare at the carpet. Once I gave Mom flowers for Mother's Day, and Michelle humiliated me because flowers wilt, and how dare I send Mom something that would die. Michelle accused me of ruining her birthday because one year I sent her a card with bluebirds on it, like I knew her parakeet had drowned itself in her toilet. One Christmas Eve, Michelle asked me to shave for Christmas Day. I didn't really have any stubble, so I forgot. She couldn't understand why I would refuse to do something to make her happy, especially something so simple, so she ambushed me with a razor. I wish she had better aim. Shaving cream stings your eyes. For weeks people wondered why I had scars around my neck and on my face. Is that enough, or do you want more? Why should I have to keep putting up with her? Heck, at one point, she tells Matt that Gus is not... Oh, take two. Heck, at another point earlier in the story, she tells Matt that he's just not simply worth Gus's love, and that one day Gus will just dump him. Only your family loves you enough to tell you this. Listening to her is like being pelted by rocks. What can he possibly see in you? Dump him and marry a nice Chinese woman instead. Stay with him and he'll cheat on you or dump you. However, near the end, in a touching scene that brought tears to my eyes the first time I read it, Gus is the one to inform Matt that his parents already knew all along, and his mother comes in to talk with them, to invite and welcome Gus to the family, as well as, ask for a son. After all, Matt is a biotech engineer. And so it was a joy to read this story and to know that despite the rocky relationship Matt has with his sister, which is putting it mildly, that his parents love and accept him. They love and welcome Gus into the family. And that we have a happy ending with a lead character who is not just another white gay guy. It's also important to point out that in our current media landscape, LGBTQ people are still killed off for cheap shock tactics, and we need to move beyond that. After all, the legend of Korra can't be the only example where LGBTQ people of color have a happy ending and literally walk off into the sunset, or the spirit plane portal. We need more. I'm Triple J, and that's all I got left to say. Take care.